Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to learn how to make fondant without the use of gelatin. So please stay tuned, as the simpler the ingredients, the better it tastes. We need icing sugar, some water, clear vanilla essence, assorted colors, cling film, egg white, and CMC powder, which you can find from any store that sells baking necessities. We'll start by putting our CMC into the icing sugar and then we mix. Followed by our egg white, we mix again. We're also going to add our clear vanilla essence, which apparently has run out, and we mix again. For our water, we are going to add it a tablespoon at a time because we need very little water just to balance the egg white, which forms the base for our fondant. A little more water, which I believe is now enough. Mix again. We'll at this point start kneading with our hands because it's become heavy. Next, we pour it onto the countertop so that we can knead it better. Notice how well it has all blended in to form a stretchy dough. This is courtesy of our darling, our dearest, our precious CMC. That's where all the magic comes from. CMC is the same ingredients that found in bubble gum. It's the one that gives it its elastic characteristic. So it's very handy in fondant, as it's going to enable you to go through the curves without experiencing the cracks. At this point, you're going to get our color onto a plate. I'll explain why in a bit. That is green. I also have red. Do the same. Pour it onto a plate. And then if you're not using your fondant the following day, you can actually use it right away. This has sat just for a few minutes and it's still okay. We just basically need it to settle down and set. So we'll give it a gentle knead before splitting it so that we're able to color it. If you're using just one color, you can always mix your color in with the icing sugar at the beginning. It makes the work so much easier. Once your pieces are separated, add a little water on the side of the plate, and with the use of a clean toothpick, you're going to create a paste. The reason we do this is so that we avoid dots forming on our fondant. When you mix your fondant with a paste or liquid food color, you don't experience the dots. So this makes it blend in more easily and efficiently. We're going to get it in a little at a time and knead as we go until we get to the shade of green that you're looking for. If you want a light shade of green, you add very little. If you need it to be a little bit darker, like I do for part of this green, you add a little more food color, to give it a deeper shade of green. Do the same as you did for the first piece. Mix it all up and you end up with two different shades of green. We repeat the steps for the red food color. Clean toothpick, create a paste that we're going to mix with some more white fondant to create a different color of fondant. Once you get the paste, just dip your fondant in the paste and begin to mix. After some time, you find that it's pinkish. That will do if you're okay with pink. If you want it a deeper shade of red, you obviously use more food color. At this point, you're going to roll it out into a strip and cut it to pieces. which you're going to roll into little balls that you're going to roll out with your rolling pin to form little white, little red or pink discs of fondant, which I'll show you what you're going to use them for in just a little bit. Once all your pieces are rolled out, you're going to grab one like I have and roll it up just like this, and then grab another piece and wrap it around your first roll. Make sure the open ends are not aligned with each other. In other words, if one roll has an open end, the next piece has to have its closed part right next to that open end, because we are looking to create the effect of petals. This is a rose that we're creating. So you repeat the process over and over again until you have what you would feel is enough petals for your rose. Remember to keep the open ends perpendicular to each other. That is what we have so far. Next, you're going to start pinching the edges to make them thinner, while at the same time curling the edges outwards to give the effect of a rose that's already in bloom. Do that from the outside towards the inside until all your pieces are curved outwards. That will give you the look of a more matured rose. I feel I need another piece, so I'm going to add one right there on the outside and do the same to its edges. Pinch as I curve it outwards so that I get a rich rose that looks just like so. Having done that, I'll set it aside and start working on my green dough. I want to create 2 leaves. Roll that out and use my knife to curve it into the shape of a leaf. Once I have the shape, I'm going to create a groove in the middle that makes it look a little bit more realistic than just a fondant piece. A network of veins just like it runs on a real leaf. Do that gently so that it doesn't go through the leaf, because you're not trying to cut it, you're just creating a groove. Once that is done, you do the same for the other piece, and then with your toothpick you're going to spread some color in the middle of the leaf to give it a more realistic look. Try and shape that so it dries in a realistic shape, not just a flat leaf. That would look very lifeless. Set those next to a rose so that they dry out there. Next, we're going to create some spirals, just because we like being extra. Cut that in half. And then I'm going to use a skewer. This is a bamboo skewer. Spread some icing sugar in it to stop the fondant from sticking to it, and then basically just roll the fondant around it like this, all the way until the fondant piece is done. And then I will gently slide out the skewer and set that particular piece of fondant on the plate to dry. This work best when they're dry, so you give them time to dry. It's important to stretch it out so that it doesn't dry when it's still curled up. It looks more realistic when it's stretched out. Next, we're going to cut the remaining white pieces in the shape of the leaf, flatten out the edges, set out the green right in the middle, and then roll it all up to form the shape of a tulip. I hope this is called a tulip. I'm not much of a flower person. So that's how we do the white flowers. Then we set that on a plate to dry along with the others. This is our outcome. Now, if you want the shine, you'll spray it with vodka. However, if you're not for the idea of using vodka, you can simply include shortening in your ingredients. But remember, if you're just spraying it onto your fondant, that is definitely not enough to get you drunk. Thanks for watching.